Well, folks, let's get straight into the preview for the Thursday race meeting at, on the Highveld at Turffontein. It's not going to be too long because both Lyall and I didn't really have a feel for the card. Lyall, in particular, was in great form on Tuesday, and our soccershop.bet price booster romped as well. But this Thursday card isn't quite the same. So I've chatted to Lyall. I'll pass on his information. But like me, he's not overly excited about this card. But nevertheless, there's always money to be made. So we're going to get straight into the betting and have a look at the races race by race. I like one horse, which I'll talk about when it comes up a little bit later on in proceedings. So let me just get all my notes in order here, particularly those that Lyall sent through. So here's the betting for the opening race on the program. Number one, Mighty Well. In fact, before we do this, let me just show you the card changes at the time of me broadcasting. And it's quite interesting because there's been a change of stables for Top Sale, Vasilikos and Forged by Fire. A little birdie told me they might be going back to the Matched Yard. But you can see it's confirmed change of stables and Stipes permission. I like some of them actually tomorrow, but that becomes a moot point because they've all been scratched. Also, race 5, number 5, Sheldon is scratched, not striding out, and race 6, number 8, Kentland Bay is coughing. Let's just go down. Are there any dramatic equipment changes? Well, there's a couple of blinkers on. Race 1, number 2. Race 2, number 3, the blinkers go on, and also Captain of Grit in race 6, number 3, gets blinkers on. But at this stage, no sign of any other changes in the races. But obviously, we're broadcasting this fairly late, so late on Wednesday night, that is. So I would double check before you have a bet that the scratchings are up to date. Right, well, let's get on to this first race. And let me tell you what Lyall thought. He thought it was a match race between the 4 and the 7. Interesting, therefore, the money has come for number 1, Mighty Goddess. Let me have a look at that. Well, that's Billy Ratus's yard, and the horse was disappointing last time Ryan Munger rides, but I suppose you can respect the money. Number 3, Alice May. I thought there was a colour change on that. Alice May from 7-1 into 6-1. And there's no doubt that the De Kock yard has been just bubbling and starting to show signs of some real in-form performances. So I wouldn't leave that out in the cold. But number 4 is the favourite, and probably deservedly so at 11-10. Lyall clearly thinks number 7, Rosie Lemon, is the only danger. I think that if number 1, Mighty Goddess, can put her best foot forward, remember this is the Turffontein inside track. She's drawn okay at 4, and if she finds the Maharani form, the Feather Boa form, then she could be something to include in the exactas and swingers. So for me, and putting together with Lyall's information, I would go 4, 7 and 1, or 4, 1 and 7 with respect for number 3, Alice May, the first time. I remember the flirtation won the Summer Cup of her year. Let's move on to race 2 and have a look at the betting for the second race on the program. Well, there's absolutely no changes here. Lyall likes 975 and thinks there might be some value. Oh, sorry, I'm just going back to the first race. I didn't see that he actually said he liked number 10 as a bit of value. The Joe Soma first timer with Simonga Kamalo on. That's Winter Muse in that first race. I just saw it on an additional line here. But anyway, in the second race, he's gone 975 and a little bit of value with number 8, Fly Isabella Fly, who is another horse that is making its debut. It's a daughter of a Lardo out of a farm there. And Randall Simons rides from a 3 draw, but not much to write home about for him here. He's got 9, 7 and 5. 9 is Princess Hilaria Muzieni rides, has a back-to-back thirds, not that well drawn at 7, but does have experience and should make a presence felt. As I said, the other 2 that Lyall likes, 7 and 5, Woodland Ridge, that's a son of Vercingetorix, Keegan DeMello rides, and number 5, which is Stroke of Mercy. Like Lyall, I wouldn't get overly involved in this race. There could be improvers. Number 4, Red Emperor could improve from the Mike de Kock yard, but it looks pretty thin on the ground here, so it should behave itself the opening leg of the place accumulator. Well, let's move on to race 3. Now, here there has been a big betting move. They've been betting it all week, really. Number 3, Battleground, who's shortened from 15 to 10, now is short as 9 to 10. So odds-on favourite, with the scratching, of course, of this horse, number 1, Top Sail, by the way. That's now out. You saw that earlier on. We showed you. And the money is poured on number 3, Battleground. So from a pick 6 point of view, I think that'll be a pretty popular first choice for many. Son of Futura going over the extra 100 meters, and that certainly should improve him. It's a very strong family, this Dragonstein stud family. I think Sir Michael is from the same family, and Dean Canham has got another one that's pretty useful. So Battleground expected to continue on his improvement, and I can see why they backed him. As far as Lyall is concerned, he likes 8 from 3, so he is giving respect to number 8, Skyjet. He's from the E family. The mother, of course, is E Ticket. Ideal World is the father. And I can see why Lyall would certainly give him the mention, because he is going the extra 100 as well, and will improve. He's got a nice draw of 2. And as I mentioned, he's already got a pedigree. But the other money horse is number 2, African Torrent. That's Michael Azzey's yard. And that's also owned by Drakenstein Studs. They've got 2 very prominent protagonists here in the form of 3 and 2. But I personally would definitely be on number 3, Battleground. Lyall goes 8-3-2 in that race, which is the 3 that I spoke about. Right, let's move on to race 4. And have a look at what's going on in the betting market here. It's not the world's biggest race. There are just 8 runners. And the 8 runners, it's not the strongest of fields. Let's see. Last comment was that he didn't like the race. He has gone 6-5-2 and 1. Pacific Express is the favorite. And yeah, I think he's probably the natural first choice. If he continues on his improvement, he is a son of Vercingetorix from the Bar and Burtis yard for the Barkhazens and Mr. Wood, who I'm told will be a top bet during the course of Thursday to watch his horse run. So hoping to catch up with him there, and hope that it runs well and wins for him. A little bit of support for number 1, In a Sense, which is Blinker Strike. Craig Zaki rides for the Lankas yard, and also a touch of money for number 5, Double Joy. I'm not add too much more than that. Don't like the race particularly, but I'll be siding with number 6, Pacific Express. The selection from Lyall is 6-5-2-1. So the only horse, I mentioned pretty much all of them, except for number 5, Double Joy. He likes that as second. And that's a daughter of Twice Over. It's called Double Joy. Ryan Munger rides. So that's the betting for that race. Again, not impossible that there's a surprise here. Perhaps number 7, Platinum Run, could improve. Even the booking of Muzzy for Corey Lensley rides so well for them. And that's number 8, Rowan's Dream. So beyond Pacific Express, it does have an open look about it, and which is why I guess Lyall said he didn't like the race. Let's move on to race 5. Here, he likes 3, 2, and 7, but siding with number 7, the weights. Now, this is an interesting race because, again, the money has come for Far Away Winter. This time, this is the Michael Azzey horse that's been backed to pretty much the exclusion of everything else. Karangatang has been adjusted into 16 to 10, but the money is clearly for Far Away Winter. He's a son of Water Winter. He's won twice out of his 4 starts. He always had a bit of a reputation. He was 5 to 10 on debut. Wasn't a great performance, but he put that behind him quickly. And he has won twice. Number 2, Karangatang, has been gelded. Now, that's the critical thing there. He obviously clearly needed gelding. He won his first 2 starts, and then he wasn't at his best in the nursery and the gold medallion. But clearly, for want of a better word, his testicles were giving him trouble. So they've come out. and he could easily improve to make number 3 Far Away Winter Run and concentrate on the job at hand. But Lyall points out number 7 Showtime. Now, this is a filly. Again, the Muziani and Corey Lensley combination. But she's carrying 52.5 kilograms. So she's getting 5.5 kilograms from those 2 colts. And she's no slouch. She's not going to hang around. Muzzy will get her on the bike early. The tongue tie is off, according to what I've got here. And I think that she could be competitive. This race is cut up very badly because although it's not updated, remember that Sheldon and Vasilikos are both out. So it's now become a 5-horse field. And I think any of 3, 2, and certainly the 7 could win. Interesting that number 4, Remember When, has eased quite badly in the market. I think during the week it was 4 to 1, it's gone up to 11 to 2. I say it's interesting because he's actually best weighted in this graduation plate. So if the colts, well, those other 2 colts and Showtime fluff their lines, then maybe Remember When could pick up the pieces, but clearly there's no support for that one. But let's move on to the 6th race. And while we do that, I had a laugh at Lyall because his comment in race 6 is no flipping idea. At least he's honest, Lyall, and I'd agree with him. I didn't like the race either, but I think you've got to respect the money for 2 Whispers of War, who did me a turn when it won at very big odds in KwaZulu-Natal. I think it was either on debut or the second time it won. I'm not too sure, but it's now relocated, of course, here with Cornet Spies and ran a terrific first run on the high felt, was just touched off by Nordic Rebel. Muziani rides again, and he does set a standard, but he's got to shoulder 60 kilograms. On the other hand, of course, number 1, Bayesier, with Pierre Stradom on board, who won last time. Pierre rode an ultimate start when finishing 3rd, has to carry 61.5 kilograms and is drawn 12. So there's a few negatives. There's 1 or 2 positives. It's Baron Puertas and Pierre Stradom, but the draw, the weight, not in his favor, Bayesier. So of the 2, I definitely prefer Whispers of War. But further down, there could be all sorts of surprise packages here. I mentioned that there's blinkers on number 3, Captain of Grit. And if I turn over the page, reminding you that both number 7, Kentland Bay, and number 10, Forged by Fire, are scratched. The horse sandwiched between them, number 9, Southern Blaze, has only got 55 kilograms. Pulisanda and Corley rides. 1 is penultimate start. So I can see why Lyall said no flipping idea, because there could be a surprise in this race. Excuse me. Right. So to sum up, in this race, I would probably go for Whispers of War, but it does have an open look about it. So I would either go for Whispers of War or fairly wide in that race. We still haven't got to the horse that I like on the card, which is why I'm motoring along to the 7th race. Oh, by the way, I want to go back quickly just to tell you what Lyall liked in race 6, because although he said he didn't have much idea about the race, he has gone for 2, 4, 1, 3, 11. So he's in agreement with me. 2 Whispers of War, 4 Castle Corner, only then number 1 Bayesier. He's mentioned number 3 Captain of Grit and number 11 Prosper's Gift. Prosper's Gift. Those are Lyall's selections for that race. Okay, let's move on to race 7. I do hope, as I'm passing this information on Lyall, that you're in as good form as you were on Tuesday, because he was absolutely lethal on Tuesday, and I'm giving you his numbers as we go. So let's move on to race 7. Here, he's gone 2, 7, 5, but says the value might be in number 1. Okay, let's have a look. 2 is Ballroom Bliss, Simango Kumalo. From a 2 draw, there's an awful lot of 2s in this form, aren't there? To run second behind Southern Song, second behind Terror Time. It's number 2 here, and it's drawn 2. Maybe it'll run second again. Ballroom Bliss is 33 to 10. It's Lyall's first choice. His second choice is 7 and then 5. 7 being Kind Judy, that's the stable companion. 5 being Terror Time, and number 1 being Opera Glass, which he says could be the value in the race. Well, Has Pierre ridden this before? No, he hasn't. Well, the booking of Pierre Straden, you've got to respect. The man's a master, particularly with these fillies, and he knows how to look after them, get them into the race, and get them competitive. So maybe Lars right. Number one, Opera Glass could be a surprise package. Interesting that there's money for the horse that I probably think is the value in the race for me anyway, and that's number 6, Princess Cash. She's been on the premises, but she's just steadily been dropping down. When she last won a race, she was a 79. She went to an 84, and she actually hasn't dropped down since then, but she's been fairly competitive. I think she'll run okay, number 6, Princess Cash. But now that I look at it, perhaps she needs the handicapper's assistance to get her in the winner's enclosure again, because she's been stuck on 84 and 85 for some time now. And she did win a fillies and mares handicap off a 79. So that's 5 mirror rated points higher. That's 2.5 kilograms more. So once again, maybe Lars right, number 2, Ballroom Bliss. Or maybe that Shruti of his, the value play, number 1, Opera Glass. Me, whenever I see fillies and mares, I'm always reminded by my good friend MJ Baileyveld to go Field and More. It's the F and M. I think he's probably right in this race as well. I didn't mention the other two that are in the betting, or the, which are number 5, Terror Time. Craig Zaki rides. He rode it to victory last time, beat Ball Bliss, and she won a good race. But here, she's got 58 kilograms to carry. I mean, last time she received 3 kilograms from Ball Bliss. Here she's only receiving 1. So theoretically, she should be beaten by 0.3 lengths, but of course we don't, doesn't always work out like that. But Terror Time should be held for a reversal of form with number 2, Ballroom Bliss, plus on top of which she's drawn 8, whereas I told you Ballroom Bliss is drawn 2. Anyway, enough of that fillies and mares handicap. Right, let's go on to race 8 now. Let's see what Lyall likes in the 8th race. He has gone 3, 6, 7, and 1. 3 is Liverpool Legend. Well, Lyall, you're on your own there. I'll come back to that in a moment. 6, Fascinada. 7, Gilda Gray. And 1, Mirren. So 3, 6, 7, 1. Well, let me start where I say he's on his own there. Maybe Liverpool Legends like the proverbial London bus, not the Liverpool bus, where you wait for ages to get one and then suddenly 2 come at the same time. And maybe that's the story for Liverpool Legend, because remember, she hadn't won for days, 567, I think it was, and she won. And well done to St. John Gray for his perseverance. So well done to Rachel Vernicker for getting her home. And maybe it was that claim of 1.5 that did the trick. But Liverpool Legend won last time. Caden Brewer gets back on. I'm sure he'll give her a good ride, but she doesn't have the 1.5. She's gone from a 63 to a 65. And, well, as I said, unless she's a London bus and 2 come quickly, I can't see her winning, to be honest. Not after having gone up in the weights and not having the benefit of Rachel Vernicker. But the full selection for Lyles, he went for number 3, Liverpool Legend, 6, Fascinada, not much between Fascinada and Gilda Gray. I marginally prefer Gilda Gray, but neither of them are particularly well drawn. They're drawn 9 and 10 here on the Turffontein inside track. The favourite is number 1, Mirren, and that to me is definitely the filly to beat. She loves this course and distance. She's run twice over it, and she's won on both occasions. Smunger has ridden her 3 times for a win and a second. He reunites here. There was lots to like about her last win, and she wasn't penalised. She remains off a 71. So I think she's going to remain extremely competitive. But the value for me in the race, and perhaps on the day, is number 2, Sunbird. She gets only a kilogram from Mirren. She's also rated a 71. She was, after her maiden raid, rated a 76. And then ran a shocker, but you've got to put a line through that. And jockey said something was amiss. The veterinary surgeon, nothing was discovered, but that's clearly not her form. So ignore that. Then she ran last time in a fillies and mares 90. and she ran behind Greek Miss, so I think won quite comfortably on the day. There hasn't been much form to come out of that, to be fair, but I think she probably needed that run under her belt too. And she's now dropped down to a 71. She's a daughter of Quirari out of a Silvano mare, so I have no qualms about her getting the trip on the mum side anyway, being a daughter of Silvano. And I like her. I think that number 2 Sunbird, I would put in most of your exotics. And unless I have an epiphany during the night, number 2 Sunbird is going to be my price booster, my soccer shop.bet price booster for tomorrow. Unless, as I say, I wake up with a vision of something else on the card. So that's the horse that comes fairly late on for me anyway on the card, number 2 Sunbird. But I do respect number 1 Mirren, who's got a kilogram more to carry, but obviously course and distance suited and won very well last time out. Did number 1 Mirren. And that's also from the Barent Burtis yard, Barent Burtis and Fossler. Can't remember her first name at the moment. That's because I'm getting old. So there we go. That's the take on this race. I've slowly but surely been falling out of screen here because we're trying to get it done before load shedding kicks in. But that's a take and a wrap for us today. I want to thank Lyall for giving his suggestions for the card. Neither of us will be having a full go tomorrow. I think we'll be saving and keeping our powder dry for the weekend where there's a Pick Six carryover. But my thanks to Lyall, my thanks to you for watching. Have a good day's racing and good luck at Turffontein on the inside track.